Alright, we're going to go ahead and service this Grinnell turntable here. I've already gotten the screws out of the turntable, and one of the problems here is, of course, the turntable won't turn like it's supposed to, and just needs a general service. Let me open this thing up, sorry. Now let's see, what does that tell us? One of those, up K0500, that might be the model number, I'm not sure, for the turntable. But look at how they have this thing attached. It's all, I mean, it's soldered in, and there's no leads hardly, so you have to actually undo some wire nuts back here. I don't know if we're gonna be able to see them or not. Take my word for it. There's some wire, there you go. There's some wire nuts down there you have to undo, so we're gonna have to make notes of which wires were attached to what, so it'll be a little easier going back in. The other thing I noticed about this, this is not a spring-loaded table. Of course, it doesn't necessarily have to be because it's real low power, but the table itself does have the springs and does have the foam. They just were never used. There's nothing for them to sit on to spring. So there's that. Now let's look in here. I've got the screws off of this. There were two screws. Let's look in here and check out the amplifier. And the same story. There's almost no leads here, so we can't do. You see that? That's about as far as I can get this thing out of here. So they really didn't have servicing in mind when they made this thing. I guess it was supposed to be disposable, about as disposable as vintage stuff could have gotten. But this is very interesting because it has two 60FX5 tubes, and that's it. That's the only tubes it has. It does have a selinium rectifier back there, which we might change, probably will change. Probably also change this electrolytic cap while we're in here. But this is a highly unusual design. I searched around on the net and found a schematic for a dual 60FX5 powered tube amp, and essentially it's 1 watt per channel, more or less. I think the schematic that I found was out of an RCA manual, and we will take a look at that and maybe see how similar it is to this particular amp. I have not yet seen, it's kind of hard to see anything here, so I haven't seen what the date codes on these pots are or anything like that. The little speakers are Japanese, and they're actually mismatched. The one on this side is an oval speaker, whereas the one on the other side is a round speaker. And I believe them to be original. It's just they're different speakers. We do have one volume for each channel. But let's get these. I think probably the way to approach this is get those nuts, those wire nuts undone, and make a note of which wires were attached to what, and then maybe we can get the turntable out of here and service it, and maybe also get the amp out to service it. Well, actually, rather than writing things down, it might be easier just to do a video. It looks like brown goes to a white wire, a red to a red, so we'll undo those. I think there's a couple more as well. Are those soldered? No, those aren't soldered. Yeah, because some of this stuff is for signal and some of it's for power. We definitely don't want to mix that shit up. Let's see, that one is a brown, but it's going to a black, so that might be a bit confusing. Where's that one come from? Let's see, the other brown I undid came from the table. Okay, so that first brown I undid came from the table, the one that went to the white wire. This brown is coming from, I think, yeah, it's coming from the amplifier. So the brown coming from the amplifier goes to the black coming from the table. Alright, we definitely don't want to mix this shit up. Okay, one of these will be... I'm thinking I'm going to have to do some desoldering even. Looks like here's one white wire here, and I think that... Let's see. This is just a pain in the ass when you have to do this. Okay, that's where those are soldered onto. That's actually two wires in one, so we're going to have to either desolder those from here or desolder them from the amplifier. This is kind of cool. I found this hang tag down behind the turntable, and this says the Fisher Baby Grand. Has nothing to do with this turntable, but that's kind of cool. It's probably a rare little hang tag. I'm not even sure what Fisher Baby Grand is. That might be one of their hi-fi products, but I don't know. But yeah, that's cool. Okay, I was looking for date codes on these things, and there's a date code actually on each of the tubes, and it's well, 1022 is the manufacturer, 631, so this is 1966 for a date on this thing. Alright, just for my own reference, the two signal lead wires are going to each of the pots, which is kind of what I suspected, but that's where they're going, so I don't get mixed up. Alright, now that we have the changer out, we can proceed to do the lubrication on this thing. You know, again, this is a BSR. I don't think we were able to see the logo and stuff before, but it does say BSR in there. There we go. BSR. Made in Britain, Great Britain. Alright, we're going to remove this little clip here to get the platter off. Okay, this turntable platter is having a hard time coming off of here, and it's probably, I'm sure it's because of seized up grease. And one of the common things to do is to take a soldering iron and heat up the spindle in the middle. But another trick is turn the thing upside down like this. You can spray a little bit of WD-40 down in there temporarily, just until you can get this thing out. You're going to clean it all anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You can spray WD-40 down in there, flip the thing over, and right down through here you can reach, and you can actually touch the platter, so you can press down on the platter as you turn it with your other hand. So you turn and press and turn and press, and eventually it will work itself down and off there. So that's an alternate way of doing it. Other than, you know, trying to heat it up. If the heating thing is not working for you, or if you'd rather do it without your soldering iron, that's one way you can do it. If you can get your finger down in there, you can actually press on the bottom of the platter, and gravity's actually helping you this way as well. But here we are with the platter off, and you can kind of see why it might have been sticking. This grease is almost like glue now. After all these years, between 1966 and now, it's pretty much turned into a glue-like substance. So we're going to take all this off of here and clean all of these. We're going to clean out we're going to degrease this bearing, and we're going to grease up everything else. The idler wheel seems just fine, actually perfect in fact. It's nice and supple. Our motor mounts are supple, so they're not dried out or anything. This thing actually has had a really easy life, so I don't think this is going to be a difficult service. We just need to go through and lubricate everything. The spindles on these changers are removable. The only thing holding them in is a little you see this little piece of wire right here that's running around over to this side, and then it kind of curls around right there. This piece of wire is all that's holding the spindle in. So if you can see there, it's tucked underneath that piece of the spindle there. So you can actually remove the entire spindle. That allows you to get the bearing assembly and everything out for easy cleaning. Alright, the spindle is pretty well frozen in there from the old dried up grease, so we're gonna have to actually heat this up. Oh, so we'll use our soldering iron and we'll get in here and we'll heat the spindle. We'll heat it up real good. This may just take a minute or so for it to heat up. But after it does, you can move the... And it's hard to do with two hands, so you have to reach around to the other side and grab the spindle. But what I'm going to do, instead of taking that spring out and risking losing it, I'm just going to move it with my soldering iron when the spindle gets heated. I think it's probably nice and heat. I can feel the warmth on the other side, so I'm going to move this clip. There, all right, there we go. See it go out. So there's our spindle. So if you guys have one of these record changers and you're wondering why the spindle just comes out, it could be that you're either missing that little clip right there, or that or it's bent. So, but yeah, you can see all the old grease on this thing is just real dried up. It's not dried up now because I actually put some WD-40 down in there. So we're just going to clean up all this, clean up the shaft as well, and then we'll lubricate the rest of the changer. Alright, the next thing we did was remove the little clip holding the changer wheel on there, and remove it, and you can see how much caked on grease we have there. Okay, we have most of this thing lubricated, and everything seems to be working nicely now. The changer all works nicely, except we need to also lubricate this mechanism that's inside here, and it actually just pulls out in one piece. And what we need to do, you can see here, this thing it swivels, but it's getting stuck. This is supposed to spring back and forth, and the grease that's on this shaft is also frozen, so we'll have to take this off, clean that shaft too. Alright, before we do anything else, let's service this amplifier. Alright, I went ahead and pulled this electrolytic cap that was in there, and it contained a 60, a 30, and a 10 microfarad at 150 volts. And you can see here, it's this one's had a hard life. It's bulging out there on the side right here physically. Just for giggles, we're gonna test it and see what each of these sections read. So let's see. Let's start with the red, which is the 60. See what it reads in microfarad. 71 microfarad, and let's see if it's leaky. Apply some voltage. If a cap is not leaky, it shouldn't really read anything right there. This one's reading 7.7. It's dropping, so it's pretty leaky. This tester applies about 2 volts or so, I believe, when you test for voltage, and it's a little bit higher than you would want to see. So this cap is leaky. The 60 is. Let's go to the next one. This one is less leaky, the blue. Yeah, it's a little bit less so. It's reading 10 megs, but again, ideally you wouldn't want it to read anything. And it's up 43 microfarads, 44 microfarads, and it was supposed to be 30, so that's out of tolerance. Let's see. Let's try the yellow. That's 9.9 microfarads, so that yellow one is not as bad. Let's see how leaky this thing is. No, it's staying open lead, so that's, well, no, there it went. And that's the thing, this voltage is very low, so it's, you know, at the voltage this tester reads at, which is, I don't know, 2 volts, something like that maybe. Something may be fine, and then it will, as you apply more and more and more voltage, it may become leaky. So, but this one's definitely a little bit leaky. Yeah, see, it's the 2.6 volts is going right across there. So, yeah, leaky as hell, really. So this cap definitely was on its way out. I'm surprised. I'd be very, very surprised if the amp just didn't hum like crazy. So we're going to replace all three of these. I'm actually going to up the values a little bit. I'm going to go with 100, a 47, and a 22 microfarad. If that doesn't work out, then I'll revert back to something a little different, like maybe a 47, and a 22. But the thing is, I don't have any 60s, and I don't want to go really with less filtering. I would rather err with slightly more filtering. So let's try this first, and then we'll see where that gets us. Well, there we go. We've totally recapped. It ain't pretty, but we've got it going. I changed the selinium rectifier to a silicone diode and a 100 ohm resistor in series. Added our 100 microfarad first stage capacitor, and the last two I went with 22s. Changed this one to 100. This one was well gone. That's this cap right here. This thing was way leaky, so that's good. Change this cap as well, and I think we're going to be about ready to go here. Let's get the tube sockets clean, let's clean the pots, and let's hook everything back up. Alright, here we go. Moment of truth. We're going to power it up for the first time after getting it all back together. Let's see what happens. Got it plugged into the Variac first. Something's smoking, so that's not good. Let's see what that was. Well, there was some excitement. I had my silicone diode in backwards and smoked my dropping resistor. So even after hooking it up the correct way, my dropping resistor's open, so I'm getting nothing on the other side of it. So let's replace that dropping resistor and try that one more time. That was interesting. Got some smoke out of something. Alright, I thought we might as well go ahead and take a look at this schematic that I found online featuring the dual 60 FX5 output. You know, this really isn't gonna tell us a whole lot really about the amp that's in our little example, but I thought it might be cool to just take a look at. The electrolytics and everything are different values if you look at the caps and everything here. So that really doesn't apply. They show a fuse also on this amplifier that's not present in the other. So I'm not sure what's up with that. Maybe I guess they're stopping because although this is a series filament amplifier, when the switch is closed, it looks like maybe you do have a complete circuit in the amp anyway, with the way this is designed. So this one required a fuse. And again, I think this is an RCA design. But at any rate, here is that schematic. This might be you know, a neat little amplifier to build if you wanted something just weird to build and you had one of these 60 FX5s laying around and a few spare parts. Really all you need is a 60 FX5 and a little output transformer, and you're pretty much in business. So the rest of it's just small components. But yeah, anyway, there it is, and you'll notice that, you know, once again, this is just a single power tube that handles the power and the preamp and everything all in one. There's no trickery. There's no, you know, Um, there's no transistor or anything in this design, or there's no preamp before this. It's just recommended you just plug your ceramic or crystal phono cartridge in the inputs and roll with it. So there you go. If you ever wanted to design something that was kind of really on the cheap, and also probably very easy to build, you probably knock this up in about a half hour or something probably. Here you go. All right, let's try that again. This time sans fire. Dial up the variac a little bit. I'm going to track the voltage on the other side of that resistor as we go. Let's see. Okay, we're at 37.5 volts on the other side of the resistor. That smoked. There's 60 volts. 80 volts. Sorry, you're having a hard time seeing. I have to reach across to reach my variac. The platter's spinning. 100 volts. 100 and now it's starting to draw down. It got up to about 110 and now it's starting to draw down as the tubes begin to conduct, and we have noise coming out of the speakers. Let's turn it down just a little bit. Well, I cleaned those pots, but I guess I didn't do it good enough. Let's turn both sides down. My goodness, I've obviously got some issues there with that pot. Still. Okay, at the very least we know we're going to have to clean that pot again, so. So we'll keep that in mind. Let's get it, I don't know, about halfway up on each channel. Let's see what we can make happen here. Let's try a record. Now first let's turn it off. All right. working right. Let's see what happens at the end of the record. Okay, so it stopped but didn't shut itself off, and I think that has something to do with the position of this arm. If this arm is all the way over here, it seems like it actually shuts itself off. Let me see. Try that again. Yeah, see, it shut itself off that time. That's because this arm was all the way over in this position, but there's a little switch right in there and you can kind of feel it. So I don't know if that has something to do with playing 45s on an adapter, because if you put this all the way back this way, and if you have this thing on, if you put it all the way back over here, and when it finishes a record, it's going to look for a 45. And it'll keep doing that over and over again. So I'm thinking this is some kind of feature actually to have this arm come back. So I don't know. At any rate, there is the 1966 Grinnell turntable. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And for now, y'all take care.